Oh my goodness, we have returned. Hello, everybody. Welcome at long last back to twitch.tv/Simodian, where we play Kingdom Death Simulator. And as I'm sure it's no surprise to anybody watching, it has been a bit. Holiday season was unsurprisingly busy, and then I got very sick. I had a rough flu for a couple weeks. I had a lingering cough for several weeks after that. Honestly, last week was probably the first week where I was well enough to stream. However, I was still like really tired because we've been getting a lot of snow around here lately and just wasn't feeling up to it. So here we are. Um, a little while later, and we're back at it. And hopefully, I remember how to play this game because I do not remember anything really of what was going on. So, before we get into the game, of course, we have our normal housekeeping. I am not logged into my own Twitch chat. Neat. One moment. Remembered my password first try, so we're already off to a good start. Okay, let's try this again. Start off with our normal content warning, where I remind you that Kingdom Death Monster and the Kingdom Death Simulator is a very mature game. There will be a lot of mature imagery, artwork, descriptions of violence, gore, body horror, as well as depictions of mental trauma. So, first and foremost, please look at yourselves. If any of that is too much for you, perfectly understandable. Moving on, Kingdom Death Simulator is an immensely complex game. There is so many rules, especially we are playing with the newer expansion, the Gambler's Chest, which adds even more rules. um, so it's a lot to keep track of, especially for one person. I am managing 5 characters and a monster and trying to keep all those rules straight. So if I make some mistakes, please feel free to use our remind command to let me know. Hey, mistakes are going to happen. We're going to do the best we can as we go along. And ultimately, with each passing game, we try to get a little better. Try to correct any mistakes I made offline or look up things I may have missed, but I try not to interrupt the flow of the game too much. For those of you who are not here live, you can leave a comment on YouTube to let me know. And for those of you who would like to see the YouTube, we have our YouTube channel here where all of our VODs are saved. You can see all of my horrible, terrible decisions and honestly, at this point, statistically anomalous bad luck. And for those of you on the YouTube side, check down the description where you can get a link to the Twitch channel where we are live, fingers crossed, just about every Friday night. As for where we left off last time, all right, so here's what I remember. We did our prologue fight, our second prologue fight against the Crimson Croc. We succeeded, but it was not terribly great. Turns out I may have made some misclicks and accidentally archived half the hit location deck, which is how we ended up drawing so many traps, which ended up killing off so many survivors. However, we did win the fight. If I remember correctly, only one person made it home. Um, so we are coming out with a batch of fresh survivors. However, there is one thing that I did forget, and that was since we lost 3 people in that prologue fight, we triggered our death principle. Um, as usual, choosing Graves. It's the one I know best. It's the one that I'm most comfortable with. I know that within the Gambler's Chest, there are mechanics that make cannibalism actually worthwhile. I'm not even going to try, Josh. I'm not even going to try. It's going to happen. Um, that said, until I've figured out some of those interactions, just going to be sticking with our graves as normal. And I did not roll for the principal offline, so we're going to do that one live. And as such, we are getting ourselves almost a 9. We're getting a 5. Settlement gathers around the grave, each taking a moment to reflect the loss in their place in the darkness. All departing survivors gain +1 survival and +1 understanding. Neat. That is actually going to be super helpful. Let me just check all that off. If I'm correct, we should have a survival limit of 2 currently. First page. Yeah, we do have a survival limit of 2. So 1 survival, 1 understanding. Oh, that actually does trigger one of our characters to get something. Nice. Okay, and we will introduce said characters shortly. Let me just get those understandings checked off so I do not forget those later. Other stats, as you can see, are tracked on our overlay. But yes, Gregor does trigger insight just as we depart, so that's cool. And I don't think there is specifically an arc insight. I'm pretty sure it's the same thing as usual. I think intimacy was really the only thing that was replaced for arc survivors. Yes, so just go back to our normal book. Oh, we can actually try something here. I heard that this is something they added. Yes, we can jump straight to insight. That is nice. All right, so that was depart. On departure. So is that technically the settlement phase? I think that's technically the settlement phase. No, I think that's technically the showdown phase. This is where things get complicated. So I think the departure step is part of the showdown phase. We're already getting into some rules. Let's see if we can get some clarification here. At the end of the settlement phase. Yeah, so we are still in the settlement phase during departure. Good to know. All right, so we roll on the Showdown Epiphany. So he will get Analyze at the start of the survivor's turn. If I'm adjacent to the monster, I get to reveal the top AI card. So that is nice. Let's check that off. Oh, that's not on the sheet anymore. On the old sheets, that was part of it. Great. So that's something else I get to remember. Like I ever remembered Analyze in the first place. All right. Well, let's see what we get with a 6. Gain 3 survival and 3 insanity. Well, he is maxed on survival, but we will absolutely take some insanity. Yep, you are absolutely correct, Josh. That's how I interpret that as well. And with arc survivors, we have a thing here. First survivor to reach 3 understanding. Now, let's also check that one off. We do designs and dandelions. Oh, also there's extra stuff in here where I can add for the pillar survivors. So I'm going to have to make sure I do that offline. So designs and dandelions. This is actually really exciting. This is one of the cool new systems I have been looking forward to. As always, absolutely amazing artwork. Create the seed pattern deck for your campaign. Examine your seed pattern collection. Check each card's keywords and keep all cards with keywords that appear in your campaign. Set aside any cards with keywords that do not appear in your campaign. Shuffle your settlement seed pattern deck and place it in play. Got it. Let's do that. Seed patterns. Snag that. Just check and see. I don't think there's any in this box. But doesn't hurt to check. Yeah, looks like we're good there. And then we just need to look through the deck and grab anything that is not from our campaign. So that's going to be like here, right here, Screaming Antelope. There's going to be some White Tiger stuff in here as well. Or White Tiger. White Lion. Yes, I remember how to play this game. I remember what we're doing. Sunstalker, Lion, Antelope. We are not using the Kingsman. Cool. So we will archive that chunk and keep the rest. All right, what else have we got going on here? The survivor dreams of a dandelion blooming with a single gleaming eye at its center. The flower withers into a silvery tufted ball, its downy soft seeds tickling the survivor's brain. The survivor sneezes, sending a vortex of floating seeds into the darkness over the settlement. The disturbance rouses the survivor, who follows the dizzying path of seeds along the ground. Atop a mound of stone faces, the survivor finds a single seedling. Pulling it, they are surprised at the strength of its resistance. With a howl of triumph, they rip the seedling out. The stone-faced ground crumbles away, revealing a shocking mass of roots growing around a filthy object. Gain the drafting table innovation. The survivor clears the vegetation and examines the scabrous surface with a bit of spare cloth. They meticulously clean the table. All right, let's go grab drafting table. Come on. Good enough. All right, when the survivor first reaches 3 understanding, gain a seed pattern card. And then for an endeavor, we can practice. Nothing, +1 understanding, once per lifetime. That's cool. And then just gain extra seed pattern cards, but skip the next hunt to recover from a migraine. All right, cool. And then finally, we got to roll ourselves a d10 with a 5. Flecks of dried blood rise into the air, turning the drifting seeds red as they dance, weightless in the air. Distracted, you wonder at the sight. When you turn your attention back to the table, your purpose is suddenly clear. Gain a seed pattern card. Neat. So let's get our first seed pattern. I'm going to leave those over here in the crafting area. That's probably a good spot for it. With the Dreamkeeper knife. So this is a gambler item. So there are different things that you need for seed patterns. First of all, you need the materials. But beyond that, there are different steps that you have to achieve. The gray ones are honestly just thematic. They're lore-based. They're not actual mechanical. But you see, for this one, we have to have a survivor with insight, so just a survivor with 3 understanding. And then if we have these particular ingredients, we can make this knife. So that's cool. It's a gambler item, but it doesn't actually require anything from the gambler. So that's cool. So that's definitely going to be something if we ever get a perfect bone to check out. Neat. All right, so now we can get back into where we left off last time. And let's get along with introducing our characters. First of all, we have Gregor, who is the person we were just spending some time with. Fresh Fresh survivor, had a little bit of understanding. I don't remember how, but it said to, and I'm gonna believe that things happened. I had it was probably it was something from the settlement phase when we started up. As for his gear, everybody this time around, thank goodness, we have the bloody cloths. So everybody gains 1 insanity on departure. Already applied that to all the characters. So that's going to be very, very helpful when we're dealing with the Croc. And he has the Bloodglass Longsword, which is honed 3, reach 2. I don't remember what honed is, so I have to look that up real quick. I made note of it a month and a half ago. It has escaped my brain ever since. So let's look that rule up. Honed. A gear special rule. The gear has plus X strength. After successfully wounding a super dense or parry hit location, the edge is ruined and loses its bonus strength. Some effects allow you to regain honed benefits. Okay. So that means that at least for now, this weapon functionally has 3 strength. And hopefully we can keep that as such. We have Jewel, who is our survivalism person. This is the only person we have with, honestly, anything special about them. So she has our first philosophy. She has tenacity, so she gains a survival token when she departs. And then if she spends that survival token, she'll check off a progress on that. As well, she has the selfish neurosis, which essentially means she can't encourage. Well, she can encourage, but it's sketchy. However, we do have the fist pump action, which is essentially the same thing for us right now. She also has fear, which means if she's in danger, she can run away, and strength training, which right now doesn't really do anything, but she will check off 1 every time she wounds the monster. So hopefully we can do that some. Make sure that looks correct on my end. So she's the one that is bringing what little bit of armor we were able to craft. So she's got rawhide vest, rawhide gloves, and a bloody cloth. Also, the interesting thing about the bloody cloth, if you'll notice on the overlay, shows she has head armor. Well, that's not right. And actually, the bloody cloth can be worn anywhere. It is not a waist-specific item. So everybody's wearing the bloody cloth on their head. Although she does not have an actual weapon. She has the Founding Stone. Next up, we have Gaston. No one dies like Gaston is probably how this is going to be going. Nothing terribly special going on with him at the moment. Just got his bloody cloth and Founding Stone. And then finally, well, not finally, because we have 5 people now, we have Tanya. Again, nothing special with her specifically. She has a weapon that I am terrified of. I didn't know what this did when I crafted it, and I might not ever craft it again. So the Bloodglass Cleaver, honed 5, so this thing has 5 strength, but she is guardless, which means she can't dodge. She's basically just going to get her ass whooped. So she's going to be hanging out in the blind spot and hopefully staying out of trouble. And then finally, we have our scout in the form of Gerald, the only survivor from the prologue hunt. Not doing particularly great as far as things are going. He's got a broken rib. He's got an intracranial hemorrhage. He is immortal, but I don't think that's going to account for much. And he also has despair, but hopefully that's not going to come up as well. Let me just quickly remind myself what all of those impairments do. I don't think broken rib was anything terribly debilitating. -1 permanent speed, right? And then intracranial hemorrhage. No longer use or gain survival. Right. Let's take that survival off his character sheet. That's why he's the scout. And I think that is everything we needed to address before we kick off the hunt phase. Already set up the hunt phase. Another thing, and part of why I definitely took my time coming back from my illness, simulator has not been feeling too well. It's been chugging, glitches were happening all over the place. I believe this is still not necessarily a glitch, just an unresolved feature. That hunt automation is still problematic because you can only have 12 cards in your hunt deck, but with arc survivors and with like pillars survivors and other stuff, you have to add cards into your hunt deck, which means you have to take out some cards. So the automation ain't working too great. I've been doing hunt manually. It's not honestly not that bad. It only takes a couple moments. So I set this up when I logged off last time, so hopefully I did it well. Let us get hunt events up. There we go. And that's right, I can't draw cards for random anymore, so we will roll to see who goes first. With a 3, that is going to be Jewel. So Jewel will reveal our first hunt event, and it's just a random one. Where's my white die? All the way over here. All right, and she rolls a 43? 43. Fresh kill. A carpet of skittering bugs points the survivors to a freshly killed monster. The scavenging insects try to defend their dinner, but the survivors fight them off to claim the prize. Each survivor rolls 2d10 and adds their hunt XP. The highest scoring survivor slays the most vermin and wins the putrid prize for themselves. They gain 1 random basic resource and 1 random vermin resource. Okay, so 2d10. We will start with Jewel. Jewel with a 15. That's pretty nice. Moving on to who's next? Gaston. 14. Not bad. Tanya with a 12. Gerald gets to roll. He will add +1. Still not going to beat a 15. And then finally, who is this again? Gregor. With a 14. So lots of good rolls. But yes, Jewel wins the day. She will get that basic resource. Being an organ. That's right, I don't have a lot of room over here, so we're just going to kind of chuck everything off this way. And a vermin as well. The crab spider. Neat. So remember that Jewel has this. I might actually leave that nearby. Just so I don't forget she has it, because that might come in handy. All right, next up is going to be Gaston with a croc event. Leechy Springs. The survivors enter a field of thermal springs that erupt with masses of fatty leeches. Nominate a survivor to investigate and roll a d10. Nobody is bold. All right, so who have we got here? So head damage would be bad. Insanity would be good. Courage. Okay, so who needs insanity? I mean, it's basically everybody except Gregor, right? So I think we should... Do we nominate Jewel? Because she's kind of the one we need to survive the most. 40% chance of taking a head damage doesn't feel great. But I think we're going to do Jewel. All right. Let's see how this goes. An 8. Oh, okay. So she'll get her +3 insanity. Perfect. Love to see it. All right. Tanya gets our next card. Also, Croc is on this space. He's just too fat to have on the board. So that's how that's going to work. And another random hunt event. A 91. Whoops. The beginning. The survivors stumble upon the scene of their settlement's first hunt. Oh, poor Gerald. Whether they've seen it themselves or heard of it through stories, they immediately recognize it. Seeing the spot of their settlement's first triumph is electrifying. Each survivor gains +1 survival. That actually doesn't help. Everybody's already maxed. If the settlement has saga, we don't. If the settlement has storytelling, we don't. All right, so that was basically a whole lot of nothing, which for the hunt phase is good. Getting good stuff would be nice, but more often than not, bad things happen. All right, and then that means Gerald will trigger the showdown. Now, I have to remember, I think showdown automation kind of breaks some of this stuff. I thought I had set up the showdown before I left, and I might have, but there have been a couple patches since then. So what I'm going to do, just to be safe, I'm going to pull these into my inventory. I think it was the knowledge deck that got messed up. So I think it was trying to deal out the knowledges to the survivors. And let's hope this goes well. Because manually setting up the showdown takes some time. Okay, looks like we're more or less okay. Oh, cool. These are here now. Those weren't there earlier. Okay, that's nice. And everything else looks to be... Oh, here's the thing we got to check. Okay, it is Adrenal Adept, not Adrenal Master. For anybody who remembers my first attempt on the Gambler's Chest, there was a glitch where this was dealing out a higher level version of the card that caused some problems. I mean, this still isn't great, but it's going to be better. Let's see. Let's put all these decks back. Cool. Handled. And it didn't bring our scout out. Poor Gerald. We'll figure that out in a second. Let's get ourselves over to the croc, just to make sure everything else set up correctly. Showdown, Crimson Croc. Yeah, so again, it's still dealing an extra terrain card, which is weird, but okay. Okay, no, I think it did because it's Survival Corpse and one. I think that's correct. And then we just do that little diamond around him. So yeah, we have the Survivor Course, and we have the Glowing Waypoint. All right, so that's something we're going to ignore. Because I don't think anybody really has any strength to speak of. Gerald has 1, but we need at least 2. And nobody else has any strength. So that's not something we're going to be dealing with. However, the Survivor's Corpse, at least 6 spaces from all other terrain. Apologize, folks. I'm trying to mute my coughs as much as I can. But again, that flu messed me up, and talking kind of aggravates it a bit. So we'll do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Over here sounds good. And we're going to try to set Gerald up somewhere near that. So we start here, and then just in a diamond pattern from there. So yeah, Gerald can start right there. As for everybody else, I've got to remember there's like, you don't want to stack up in front of him. You kind of want to spread out a bit. I don't remember for sure. And then Tanya, yeah, Tanya's the one that we want to try to get into the backside. So that's probably a good spot for it. Maybe we'll start Tanya here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, everybody is equidistant from the croc. And then this is just, yep, got it. All right, I think we're ready to kick off. I've actually learned how to draw cards off the bottom, so we can do that now. For anybody keeping track at home, that is Shift and E to draw a face-down card from the bottom of a deck. Immortal Presence is just the Terrified thing. All right, I think we're ready to kick it off. Let's do it. Immediately with the 21,000 Newton bite, and this is why we don't stack up. I honestly don't know, Josh. I think that was an undocumented change. I don't know how long it has been there. I'm going to guess since the start of the Gambler's Chest, and just people were experimenting with button combinations until they found it. So for anybody who does not participate in the Discord, there's always some good tips over in the Lantern's Reign Discord. Don't think I have a chat command for that. I should probably set one of those up. All right, target with the most tokens in range. Yeah, it's definitely a good one to start with. That's going to be Jewel because she's the only one with tokens. So we're just going to scoot ourselves here. Oops. There we go. Speed 2, accuracy 3, damage 21. However, if you're not terrified or deaf, you just reduce it to 1. This is the attack he starts off with in the prologue. So we've seen this before. Okay, so 2 speed. Oh, that's right. It puts away all my dice now. No. All right, well, let's bring these over. All right, so 3+. I don't think we have any extra evasion on Jewel. Let me just move something over here so that I can see the overlay as well. All right, so hitting on 3s. Only 1 hit, so she's going to take 1 damage to her body. That is okay. We've survived the first round. Then we get to do our turn. All right, so what are we doing here? So things we have learned. You don't want to be in his side. So I probably should have all right, first of all, let's take care of this. Let's have Gerald do his thing. The only thing he's going to do this fight, hopefully. If Gerald is actually fighting, we are in trouble. With a 10. 3 insanity, so that's actually going to be helpful for him. He is stone cold crazy, and a skull. Oops. Oh, what have I done? Did I flip? Oh, I flipped the whole deck. Let's just grab a skull. Neat. And then he's just going to slowly walk away. Because again, there's nothing really we could do with this. Best case scenario for Gerald, nothing happens, so we're not even going to mess with it. Oh, that's right. Thank you, Josh. Survivor of our choice gains 1 insanity. That's going to be either Gaston or Tanya. It's probably going to be Gaston, because Tanya is already defenseless. So terrified is less of a burden for her. It's still something we want to take care of. But thank you for that reminder. So we might as well start off with Tanya, because she is probably going to be our biggest damage dealer. Let's actually move her over 1 more. Hello, Amelia. Welcome, friend. All right, so with this Bloodglass Cleaver, 3 speed hitting on 6s. 3 speed is... it's all right. Got a hit. Jeez. With the Pale Cloaca. Okay, nothing terrifying on this. Honestly, had a pretty chill day, Amelia. Had a pretty chill day. Finally built up my energy enough to start doing this again. So this is 5 strength, right? Yep, honed 5. Croc has a toughness of 7, so we're just wounding on a 2. Jeez. That was too close for comfort. So get that, and we have dealt our first wound. Nice. Who's the other person we have with a weapon? Let's let them go next. That's going to be Gregor. Or, yeah, Gregor is this one. So the nice thing about Gregor is this longsword has reach, so he can be diagonal. Ugh. Yeah, I try to avoid that as much as possible. All right, so 2 speed, also hitting on 6s. Unfortunately, no hits. Next up, let's get Gaston again. I learned that being in this side facing is not friendly. Nice friend of the community, Fen, who boss battling with Fen on YouTube. Oh wow, you got a lot done today. I support him on Patreon. Suggest you do as well. He is a wonderful content creator. Put out his visual guide for the Crimson Croc today. And he's like, yes, the Croc can essentially roll in any direction, but the side rolls are the worst. Because they will deal damage in addition to just running you over. Front and back aren't great, but they're better than the sides. So took that to heart. As for Gaston, he's just got his Founding Stone, so hitting on 7s. Interesting. I don't remember what tier I'm at. I didn't know there were different tiers for his Patreon. So here we go. I got another hit. Super dense. That's not a problem. That would be a problem for our honed friends. And here's what we were just talking about. The side roll, in addition to regular collision, also deals damage. All right, so that is a Founding Stone. So strength 1. So it's going to be wounding on a 6. Did not wound, but reflex still happens. So he will full move to his left. That is 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Unfortunately, that might leave Jewel in a bad situation. Oh, that sounds like a Monday problem, friend. Nothing else happening here. So Jewel, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, can't get anywhere. So I think can't really do anything either. The play for Jewel is we want to keep the monster. Again, another helpful tip from Fen. Try to keep the fight around the blood pool. So if you need to drink blood to gain insanity, you're available. So we're just gonna move Jewel. Just keep her over here, nearby the blood pool, nearby the other survivors, but probably. Actually, yeah, that's probably fine. That's probably fine, right? Right? That's probably fine. Yeah, that's just survival, so nothing to really think about with that right now. Okay, brings us back to the Croc then. Mocking Bite. Closest threat facing in range is nobody. Closest survivor is going to be Gregor. So he's just going to come on over here. 2 speed, again hitting on 3s. 2 damage this time. Well, 2 hits. So that is going to be also, let's bring up Gregor. Forgot. Gotta remember how to do this. Forgot to switch people up as they were attacking. So again, that's going to be head and waist, which is not great, but we can deal with that. We put the cloth on his head, and that'll just be a light wound to his waist. The monster chortles with you in its mouth. Gain the Terrified Survivor status card. If you already have it, you're knocked down. Okay, so he will have Terrified. So, Terrified, you're guardless. You cannot ignore hits. But since he has Insanity, he can just get this off on his next turn. He'll end up wasting his next turn, but keeping that on is bad. Monday problems for Monday. Enjoy the weekend. All right, so that brings us back around to the survivors. So Gregor is just going to kind of step a little bit out of the way so he's out of immediate danger, and he's going to spend his action to get rid of Terrified. Let's actually step him back one more, I think, just in case we need to scoot around or something. As for everybody else, not great positioning, unfortunately. I wonder if I could have moved the monster a little differently, but too late for that now. I don't want to just be bunched up in front of him. That feels dangerous. But I think we can't play it too safe with the Croc. The Croc will absolutely win this game, this war of attrition. So I think we kind of just need to go for it. Let's start off with Tanya. At least Gregor can, or Gaston. Is that Gaston? No, it was Gregor that had the sword. Darn it. Gosh. Y'all need to stop letting me give characters names that start with the same letters. Tanya's got that blood glass cleaver, though, so that was 3 speed hitting on 6s. 3 hits this time. Oh, boy. All right. This one looks pretty safe. What else have we got here? It's not particularly great, but okay. And then same thing. Cool. All right, so we're going to start off with the safe one. And again, Tanya wounds on a good ol' 2. That is a wound. We will take that. We'll do this one next. Wow, what are the odds? Well, the odds are 1 in 10. All right, so we're going to move 2 spaces forward, which is going to knock Tanya back. Get to that in a second. So she's knocked down. Gregor is now also knocked down from the collision. And Tanya takes 1 brain damage. Ooh, she's got to drink some blood. All right, well, that wasn't particularly fun. I guess Gaston's the next one to step up, which is with his Founding Stone. 2 hits. All right, so yeah, that's done, and now this no longer happens. There's our trap. Oh, God, that is an early trap. Gaston's dead, y'all. The attacker gains the terrified status card. Yep. And we get the death count. All right. I remember reading this on Discord. There's a way to do this. Nope. I don't remember. Give me a second. I got to look this up. Right click dice, set face. I know this is something that just came up recently where you could actually suck it onto the card, and I don't remember what that was. Oh well, we're not going to spend the stream reading Discord. Shift, maybe shift. Oh, Josh, you're the man. Okay, so what this means, at the end of each round, we gain a survival. Nice. Place a death token. All right, so we're currently at 0. Oh, that's so nice. At the end of each round, gain a survival and place a death count token on this card. It may surge an additional time. So this is cool. Like, hey, you're on the clock, but at least you could surge like extra to kill the creature. We don't have surge yet. It's Lantern Year 1. And then when there's 5 or more tokens, his heart bursts, killing him instantly. So that's not going to happen yet. Anything else of note on here? Full moves away from all survivors. So that's going to bring him here, and then that. Okay, rip Gaston, because there ain't no way we're killing this guy in 5 rounds. All right, Jewel, why don't you step in, get a hit. Vasodilated doesn't mean anything for us right now. And we are, again, wounding on a 6 with a Founding Stone. Crit doesn't do anything. Okay. But it does dual wound. We might save Gaston after all. So on, again, since there's no crit location, this is not ignored. This is a compulsive reaction. Monster recoils, its fresh blood instantly congealing into hard, translucent scabs. Archive this. All right, so here's where I messed up before. It's the only card now. So archive this. I believe it was you, Josh, who actually messaged me on Twitch, and I felt so dumb. I had a stack of cards here during I think it was the last prologue fight. So when I went to archive the one card, I archived the stack. So I thinned out his deck, and that's why I hit the trap so many times. And then we take one of these, Shift E to draw the bottom card. Thank you, Discord. And then out, that goes there. That is the end of our turn. Ooh, okay. Now, we're probably fine to leave them down. They'll stand up next turn and be okay. Gerald, we don't need you yet, but you might be on deck, buddy. Okay, so that means we get our first death counter, and we set that to 1. And it is now the Croc's turn. Delighted. When this comes into play, draw an AI card. We'll do that in a second. The monster can barely contain its delight as a pungent foam leaks from its maw. While this is in play, the monster has -1 accuracy and +1 speed for each terrified survivor. Okay. When a survivor dies, the monster is knocked down in excitement. Discard delighted. So for now, that counts as a wound. Probably going to come back. So he's going to have -1 accuracy and +1 speed because Gaston is terrified. And we get Repeating Bite. Okay, this is not something. When this card is resolved, place it back on top of the AI deck face up. While face up, ignore effects that manipulate the AI deck. Okay? Place a token on this card. Okay. Pick target, close threat facing in range. It's going to be Jewel. Move and attack. The attack gains +1 damage for each token. So right now this is going to be 1 damage. Instead of a token, I'm just going to, now that I know this trick, I'm just going to grab a die here. Whoops. Oh, goodness. Get it together, Sam. And set this to 1. Probably going to get rid of that sooner rather than later, I hope. So this is going to be, what did we say? 3 speed, but 2 accuracy. Okay. Or 4 accuracy. Right? Yes. 3 speed, hitting on 4s. Of course all 3 hit. Neat. Head, and body. Not great for Jewel. So we'll take 1 to the head, 1 to the body, and spend a survival to ignore the second head. Unfortunate, but it is what it is. Just got to remember to have Jewel use her token at some point before the fight is over. And then this goes back on top. Again, hopefully we can get rid of that. All right, so Vasodilated. We've got to hit the monster here. The question becomes, do we use the Founding Stone to do it? All right, so what we're going to do, we're going to get Jewel over there. Again, kind of dangerous, but we need to be there. If Jewel doesn't get the hit, Gaston can move over and throw his Founding Stone. And yes, these two stand up. Is that the right spot? That is not the right spot. She goes there. Got it. All right, hitting on 7s. That is 1 hit, and I've already forgotten. Has Jewel dealt any damage? Because I forgot to check off strength training. I don't remember. I'm going to guess not. All right, the Sparkling Claw. Gain +3 strength to wound this location. Nice. So that is 4 strength for her now, so she will be wounding on a 3. And she gets a crit. You strike the soft tissue between the monster's claws, gain 1 random monster resource. Whoops. So let's start with that. With the pale flesh. Roll a d10. With an 8, so 4+, the strike cleaves the foot clean off. The monster can no longer shift its weight. Gains -1 damage token. Sweet. That is huge. And then I also have to deal the wound, which means we no longer care about this. Okay. So that's huge. That is a big benefit for us. All right, so we need to save Gaston, but we can't play stupid. So what I'm going to do 5. Nearby, but not in danger. And he's going to spend his turn getting rid of Terrified, because he does have Insanity. Tanya is going to scoot around here. She needs Insanity. So we're going to drink from the blood pool. With an 8, she gains 1 Insanity. Perfect. And then that brings us to Gregor. Oh, and I already almost forgot. We absolutely triggered strength training on that one. I think these are in the wrong spot. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, okay, 1, 2, 3. That looks correct. All right, so Gregor, you can stop there because this is reach 2. So yep, hitting on 6s. Got 1 hit. Oh, super dense. That sucks. And it's going to run over Jewel. Ooh. Okay. Well, it is what it is. Can't really control it. So honed 3. So this is going to be wounding on a 4. Got the wound. And unfortunately, we wounded a super dense location, so this has now lost its hone. So this is essentially strength 0. Well, not essentially strength 0, it's literally strength 0. Now, as you saw, there are some things we can do to get honed back while we're fighting the croc, but it's not exactly controllable. And now it's going to scoot on over. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I know I said we wanted to keep the fight towards the center, but the croc ain't cooperating. Jewel gets knocked down. We might stand her up. Just to get... Because if the croc targets Gregor, it's going to end up standing on her, which we don't want. But anyway, she suffers 1 damage to her body again. That's not great. That's a heavy wound to her body. She would have already been knocked down. If the 99 finger spine hit location is in the discard pile or in play, placed on top of the hit location. I'm almost positive it's not. It is not. Okay. So we might as well have Gaston spend the survival because he's not long for this world. So Gaston is going to encourage Jewel. Or no, is he? Because she can't move. She already spent her movement. So she might as well stay down. Yeah, that would be silly. Okay, I think that's all we got going for us. Click up to 2. All right, back to the croc. Sonic Belly Roar. The monster snaps its massive jaws shut and emits a deep and guttural belly rumble that violently shakes the ground. All survivors not on terrain. Well, that's everybody. The monster leaps 3 spaces backwards, which you can't do. So it slide along the board edge. If I go to the left, it's going to land on... Do I take... Yeah, I think that actually would be better. Okay. So, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the knockback. Because it's going to scoot 3 spaces this way. Is it jumping backwards? I think that's correct. Fingers part, sending a roar to the stone faces. All targets roll a d10. On 4 plus, they're knocked down and suffer a brain damage. On a 7 plus, the vibrations also shatter random fragile gear. Do these things count as fragile? That one doesn't. That one doesn't. Okay, good. So 4 plus. Starting with Gregor. Yep, that's a 4 plus. That's the wrong card. So not. Oh gosh, this is going poorly. Knocked down. Suffer a brain damage. Tanya. That's a brain. Or sorry, Jewel. I meant. That's a brain damage. Gaston. Gets away from it. Nice. And then Tanya. Tanya really needs to avoid this because she just got her only insanity back. Nope, that's a brain damage. Tanya's going to spend some more time in the blood pool. That's a knockdown. Okay. Jewel started the monster turn knocked down, so she will stand up. So it's the Jewel and Gaston show right now, and I don't think Gaston can do anything. Honestly, he might just huck his founding stone, just to do something before he dies. He's got a couple turns left, so he might save it for either his last turn or a dire situation. He can't. Yeah, we can't encourage. That's right. I forgot the one survival action I have other than dodge, of course. Yeah. So yeah, Gaston's gonna encourage, and we're probably gonna have Jewel do a fist bump as well. That is the smart play. So let's. Yeah, that's true. That's true. I forgot this does gain him survival. He hasn't been spending any, so it hasn't come up. All right. Well, let's start off with that. Let's have Gaston spend a survival to encourage Tanya. And Tanya might as well step onto. Or no, I need to keep her close. She needs to be as close to the fight as possible. All right, again. Oh, that's a 1. Hemophobia. Oh no. So, the mere sight of blood makes you lightheaded, and serious gore can knock you out. During the showdown, whenever a survivor, including you, gains a bleeding token, you're knocked down. All right, that's fine. And then we're going to have. So let's see what we got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. So Jewel will do a. She will consume her survival token to gain a survival, which will check off 1 level of survivalism. Or tenacity. That's right. Sorry. This is also something they fixed. This section now works correctly. I haven't added anything to this section just yet, because I know that was still being a little weird. Hopefully we can experiment with that soon. And then she's going to spend that survival immediately to fist pump Gregor. Gregor's going to stand up, and he will just make his way. Yeah, Gaston's probably going to have to throw his founding stone this turn just to get an attack in. All right, and oh, that's right. Gregor's sword is dull. So honestly, fist and oh goodness, yeah, no. So this has a better chance of hitting. Fist and Tooth has a 10%. So we have a 20% better chance to hit with this, but a 10% better chance to wound with Fist and Tooth. I mean, not even to wound, it would be to crit. Let's think. We're in the blind spot, so we should Fist and Tooth. So this will hit on 7s. Got a hit. Vasodilated doesn't mean anything. Okay. So we are wounding on a 7, but we're critting on a 9. Yep. Monsters' plated scabs grind and crack, spraying pungent ichor. Bleeding wounds pucker and sizzle, erupting with fresh pain. All adjacent survivors suffer brain damage equal to their number of bleeding tokens. Neat. Nobody has bleeding tokens. So that actually was not very punishing, other than missing out. Jewel. Just trying to think. Since we're in the blind spot, is it worth using Fist and Tooth? I mean, as we just saw, not really. I think we just keep using the Founding Stone. So this will now hit on 6s. No hits. Wouldn't have mattered. And then Gregor, or Gaston, I mean, might as well throw his Founding Stone because there's nothing else he can do this turn. Just move there, I guess. And we auto-crit, whatever this is. Nice. Critical wound. All right, so first of all, let's deal our wound. All right, so we've seen everything in the deck. Sonic Belly Roar is really the only really problematic thing. All right, if adjacent, you punch shoulder deep into the hole. Doesn't happen. But that just looks like flavor text because it is separate from this. We gain a pseudo penis. Okay. What's that? Archive, gain 3 survival and the Invigorator fighting art. Interesting. And roll a d10. Let's do that. With a 1, so nothing happens. The waste leaves an inspiring design for you. Okay. So, yes. On a 3+, we would have gotten paint, which would have been awesome. Oh, well. All right. That ends our turn. So this will tick up again. Gaston will get that survival back, though. That's nice. All right, let's see how this goes. Right, and who had... It was Gregor. So now on Gregor's turns, he wasn't being adjacent before because he had the reach weapon. But now, remember, if he starts his turn adjacent, we get to look at the top AI card. All right. 21,000 Newton Bite. Target with most tokens is nobody because this is not a token. Closest survivor is going to be either Gregor or Jewel. Jewel's taken a bit of a beating, so it's probably going to be Gregor. I mean, Gregor's not doing particularly great either, but I think Jewel's in slightly worse shape. Gregor also has 2 survival. All right, so... Oh, this actually won't even deal damage because he's at -1 damage token. Or no, it's a minimum of 1, right, Josh? If I'm remembering that correctly, it's got to be a minimum of 1 damage. One hit to the body. And so we're just going to spend a survival to dodge that. Yeah, I'm almost positive it's a minimum of 1 damage. Actually, we could take that hit. It's only going to bring him to a light wound. Save that survival for other uses. All right, good turn. So we've got to get that roar out of here, whatever we do. Poor Tanya. You're just... Oh, Tanya. Oh, yeah, she's supposed to be terrified. I forgot. All right, we've actually been doing some stuff wrong. She should be terrified immediately. Let's go ahead and do one more for that then. Yeah, so that would have been one more hit on Gregor. Also to his body, so now we will dodge that. I don't think that would have affected previous turns because he did the roar thing. But I forgot about that. My bad, folks. All right, anyway, our turn. So yeah, Tanya's gotta get some insanity, gotta get rid of terrified. Like there's nothing else she can do right now. All right, getting insanity. Next turn she can get rid of terrified. Gaston his heart is about to explode and you're just hanging out sipping blood. All right. Do we have anything particularly valuable we can do here? Not really. So we just swing away. Two, three, four. Can't even get into the blind spot. All right. We just stand here and duke it out with the croc. Let's start with Jewel. No hits. Let's go to Gregor. Still fist and tooth. Wow. 2 hits. That would be bad. Oh, this is perfectly fine. All right, so wounding on a 7, critting on a 9. Yeah, that's about as expected. Same thing here. Yeah. Okay, moves 2 spaces forward, so we just get chucked out again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Knocked down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Knocked down. To there. And 1 brain damage to Gregor. Still got some good amount of insanity. That's fine. That does let Gaston scoot into the blind spot, so he can hit on 7s. Not quite. Not quite. That's all we got. That was a whole lot of nothing. We need Tanya to get into the fight. She's not going to get into the fight before Gaston dies. So we probably have to save Tanya for last. She can go in, like, if it could possibly save Gaston's life, she'll just have to be terrified. That's fine. But especially with this card still in the deck, like, that's not great either. Okay, what have we got? There's the belly roar again. Oh, I also didn't belly roar for Gerald. Let's really quick retcon that. Yeah, so Gerald would have lost an insanity as well. He has a ton of it, though. Now for this belly roar, again, it's going to be everybody. So we will start with Gregor. Yep, that's brain damage. This is going poorly. Jewel, that's brain damage. Gaston, that's a brain damage. Oh, Tanya. Jesus, Tanya. You just got your insanity back. Ah. She's good. She's good. And then let's not forget this time, Gerald. That's a brain damage. Okay. Let's stand everybody up again. All right, so we've got. I probably should have started bringing Gerald in, but it's a little too late for that now. All right, let's just see what we could do. Gaston, it's your life on the line, so let's see what you could do. Hitting on sevens. Oh, he's feeling it. He's feeling that blood pumping. Vasodilated, vasodilated. This one rolls to the right. This one rolls to the left. So let's see if he goes 1, 2, 3. Oh, he's gonna go all the way there. That's bad. All right, let's see what we can do. So again, wounding on a 7, critting on a crit doesn't matter, so just wounding on a 7. Okay, so that is a wound. And then we do a coagulated guy. Oops, get in there. So was it Shift E? Oh, well, that sucks. We can't get to that spot. Gaston, you're in trouble, buddy. Well, let's see what happens here. Like, honestly, a failure here would actually be good for us. Yeah, that's actually not terrible. Now he's gonna go 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Unfortunately, so Tanya could move here to hit, but she would have to hit. She'd have to deal at least 2 wounds. And then Jewel could finish it off. Oh, do we take that chance? Because we've got a 50% chance of Tanya. Excuse me. 50% chance of Tanya just essentially dying next turn. Because we only got 2 cards in here, and one of them is the 21,000 Newton bite. So how much do we want to... I think we just have to let Gaston die. I don't think it's worth it. Like, she has a really good chance. But if she doesn't do it, Gaston definitely dies, and she has a 50% chance of dying. I don't think that's worth it. I don't think that's worth it. I think she just needs to kind of move where she can. Whoops. And spend her action getting rid of her Terrified. I don't like it, but it's the smart play. And then get everybody else close. Actually, don't stand like that. That would be dumb. Yeah. When you're... Listen, the game's called Kingdom Death. There are things we have to accept. Honestly, I could really use the extra endeavors from Graves, because we only got 1 endeavor last time around. I think it's the best play. That is the end of our turn. This ticks up to 5. And Gaston. No one's heart explodes quite like Gaston. Rip. Which means Delighted now gets discarded. I mean, it's likely going to come right back out sooner rather than later. All right, just please. All right, well, there's Delighted. Yep, that was shocking. Oh, it's the belly roar. Damn it! This is gonna be a problem. We're running low on survival or insanity. All right, Gregor. There he goes. He is terrified. Jewel. She's still got something. Tanya. Tanya's holding on. She is holding on with everything she's got. And Gerald. That's... Okay. Now... we have Jewel go after the vasodilated. So again, hitting on 7s, though, feels bad. Wow. All right. So 1 + 3, 4. So she is wounding on a 3. That is a wound. All right, so terrified is now slightly less of a problem, because that was definitely the bite. And of course, Jewel had to stand right here, and now she's in danger of getting run over. But it is what it is. This is going to be wounding on a 6. Yeah. So... Jewel gets knocked down. She's going to take 1 damage to her legs. That should be fine. Yeah. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Ah, you are correct. 2 damage. I think I did that wrong on a previous turn. But, oh well. All right, so now Tanya can get into the blind spot. Okay, so she will now be hitting on 5s. Two hits. All right, well, impervious, so we might as well start with this one. Nothing happening there. And then nothing bad here. So she's still wounding on a 2. That's a wound. So that should be the belly roar gone now. All right, we're just down to basic action. Let's think about this. Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, that's a problem. So yeah. Oh boy. Yeah, Gregor, you gotta run, buddy. You gotta run, friend. You just stand in the middle of the blood pool and drink. Oh. Tanya should still be terrified. She had hemophobia. I'll take care of that in a second. So he gets an insanity. So yeah, Tanya will lose her insanity. She is still terrified, which is going to be relevant. I don't think it would have affected anything else because she didn't actually take any brain damage after the hemophobia. All right. She's going to get. This isn't. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. Oh, she's terrified. And she's guardless. So she's dead as can be. Unless somehow she dodges everything. Terrified threat in range is going to be her. Because I don't think Gregor is in range. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. Oh, well. All right. So now we got this thing. So it's going to be +2 speed, but -2 accuracy. So 4 dice hitting on 5s. It's possible. Listen, if I was rolling to attack the monster, 5s on 4 dice wouldn't be outside the realm of possibility for me. All right. So yeah, she's terrified. She's devoured whole. Dead. We're running a bit low on survivors. Okay, so Jewel can stand up. Gerald, you're up, friend. Let's start making your way in. We need every bit of help we can get. Gregor's gonna get rid of his terrified. 2, 3, 4, 5. Jewel, let's just see if we can finish it off, huh? So she's going to be hitting on 6s. 1 hit. Okay. And she's wounding on a 6 as well. Fail. Okay. She's disarmed. Neat. I think I had the. Did I not have those tokens out? I thought I'd had those. 1 moment, please. We'll make her blue. That's fine. Five spaces away. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I honestly, she's probably just going to be using Fist and Tooth instead of running to pick up a Founding Stone. At least for now. That's our turn, so we're back to basic action. So nobody is currently terrified because Tanya died. So terrified threat in range is nobody. Closest survivor is going to be Jewel. I don't remember again. I think I might have forgotten another one. Yeah, because she definitely hit that vasodilated location. Pause. Pause, please. Oh, okay, that's only 2. She needs to get the 6. All right, back in action. So this is going to be 2. Oh, that's right. This is actually back in play. So he's just going to draw this again. It's fine. Nothing changed. Um, but if I had dealt a wound last turn, it actually wouldn't have killed him. So I'm actually kind of glad I didn't have to deal with that ruling error. All right, so 2 speed hitting on 3s. Plain and simple. 1 hit. It is only 1 damage because we have the -1 damage token. To her head. To her head. Well, yeah, she's definitely just going to dodge that. All right, let's finish this stupid thing off, huh? Oh, God, we got a fist and tooth, though. I don't think it's worth it to go spend a turn grabbing the weapon. But it is a founding stone. All right, Gerald, continue your approach. All right, well, let's see how things go for Gregor. Let's get Gregor in here. Hitting on 8s. Got a hit. Okay, let's just do it. Let's just do the thing, Gregor. Oh, he finished with a crit. Not that it mattered. Okay. The monster has been defeated. Oof. All right. All right. Getting a little better. We went from 1 returning survivor to 3. I'll take it. All right. So for the croc, we get 4 basic and 5 croc resources. Good haul. I would love to see a love juice, please. Hide. A perfect hide, nonetheless. Hide. A question mark. And a hide. Boo. And then 5 of these guys. A flesh. Some nails. Some fingers. Bloodstool. It's a consume effect. And another pale flesh. All right. So we can make some armor. That's good. I don't think we're gonna get much in the way of weapons or anything. Probably gonna have to hold. We could innovate. We'll see how things go. But let's return first and foremost. Oh, and we bring another crab spider along too. I think that was everything of note. All right, so we gain our endeavors. We get 3 returning survivors. And 2 dead survivors. So we've got endeavors. We're going to be spending some time trying to make a baby because I badly need to trigger intimacy. How are we doing on population anyway? We're down to 9, so that's actually not terrible. All right, update the timeline. So we get our settlement event, and then Death of Song. All right, let's see what happens. Rivalry. Oh, God. If there are less than 2 returning survivors, discard Rivalry and draw a new event. Select 2 random returning survivors. They begin to argue. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 for Gerald. So that's going to be Gregor. That's nothing. Of course, it's Gregor and Jewel. That's all right, and then roll a d10. With a 4, the 2 rivals immediately come to blows. Randomly choose one of them to suffer gaping chest wound. Add rivalry to the next year. All right, odds it's Gregor, evens it's Jewel. Of course it's Jewel. Of course it's Jewel. And gaping chest wound. Oh, I forgot. That's already... Well, nope, that's the wrong one. Gaping chest wound, -1 permanent strength. Ugh. So the only person with a philosophy is not doing great. Okay. And an add rivalry to the next year on the timeline. All right, so we could duel to remove rivalry. And we have enough endeavors that we're probably definitely going to do that. But first, we've got to do, what was it called? Death of Song. A melody from the darkness abruptly ends. The settlement's heart sinks. A poacher emerges from the darkness, dragging the corpse of a monster. Their face is twisted with guilt. The poacher presents the mangled heap as a gift to the settlement. The gathered survivors cannot help but gaze at the tortured face of the creature. Their eyes welling with tears, muffled sobs escape their throats. You may now hunt the smog singers, add them to the quarry list on the settlement record sheet, and we confront the poacher. So let's do that. Checking it off doesn't particularly matter because we're not automating the hunt phase. I don't think it particularly matters. I don't remember exactly what step we do collective cognition on, but I'm guessing it's after story events. Roll a d10. The 6. The settlement cannot bring themselves to trust the guilty stranger. Survivors drive the poacher away with hoarse cries of reproach, flinging loose stone face shards at their swiftly disappearing shape. They solemnly process the creature's sad corpse, gain 2 random smog singer resources. Neat. Alright. Got a tail fat. And Whistletooth. All right. Actually, bone and scrap, I think, are both pretty valuable for us right now. We got a lot of crafting ahead of us, guys. Okay, so into the we got to update our death count. Check. Check milestones, nothing of note there, and now we're developing. All right, so I think we do our collective cognition now. Because we did get a level 1 croc done. So that brings us up to 2. So that triggers whatever this is. Pleased Plating gained the Stone Plate innovation. This lantern year, the survivors are presented with plated meals for the very first time. Departing survivors gain +1 survival. Nice. I'm going to leave this over here so I don't forget that. I'm going to forget it anyway. What is it called? Stone Plate. All right, the settlement tenderly scrapes together comforting meals. Survivors may claim the Clothed and Satiated Armor Set bonus card if they meet its requirements. So what that means... if we are wearing at least 3 pieces of armor anywhere, we qualify for this bonus, which is just an extra +1 to all hit locations. So this is nice, especially early game as we're like developing armor sets and working on stuff. This is going to be super helpful. Like it's probably worth just to craft a couple pieces of rawhide gear, um, just to get everybody up to 3. Um, I don't think we need to hold on to that though. All right, what else are we doing? We got to deal with this rivalry, so let's just do that right away. With a 5, roll a d10 for each rival. The one who rolls higher is the winner. They gain +1 permanent strength, and the loser is dead. I mean, it sucks, but it's better than dealing with rivalry the whole time. Just get it off the timeline. We have the endeavors to spend. So Gregor with a 6, Jewel with a 5. Gregor gets +1 permanent strength, and Jewel is dead. Since Jewel died during the settlement phase, we get another endeavor from Graves. So that only cost us 1 endeavor and 1 survivor. But like, there's not a lot of great outcomes here. You have a 70% chance of at least 1 person dying. All right, next up. All right, so let's take stock of all this stuff. I think that's all the basics. We have enough resources. We might just innovate. I typically don't innovate on Lantern Year 1, but we've got so much stuff. Is this... It's a hide. Okay. So we're low on bone, but we have a skull. We have a question mark. Okay, so straight up, we're going to spend 2 endeavors to unlock the other 2 starting locations that we didn't get. Yeah, we just got so much stuff. Belly boots. Ooh, interesting. That might be worth crafting. I don't know what it does, but how often are we going to have a perfect hide and a vermin available to us? Do we need a perfect hide for anything in here? Doesn't look like it. I mean, the giggling scythe, but that's way off. Okay. So I think we're going to start with that. We're going to do the perfect hide and the crab spider to make whatever those boots are. Okay, so it's something to help keep them alive. Not the greatest thing in the world, but it's something. Gets them an extra movement too, so that's nice. All right, let's see. So is there anything cool we can make with all this stuff? could make a crockbone hammer because we have a crimson bone in storage. Right, what was the scrap that we needed? I was broken lanterns specifically, not scrap. Okay. Um, okay, so let's think. We can make a crockbone hammer. We can make a blood compass lantern. We can make finger darts. Finger darts actually might be the play. We don't have a ranged option right now. And we definitely felt that on the last fight. And we can make the Crimson Pearls because we have the Bloodstool and the Crimson Bone. Again, I don't know what any of this stuff does. I'm playing this pretty straight. So we can make the finger darts. We're going to want to make one more weapon. We could just make. Just make like a bone sword or something. All right, let's see what this stuff does. Let's see what this stuff does. It's the only way we're gonna learn. So what is it? A pale fingers and a scrap because this does count as scrap for finger darts. Two speed, 7+, 2 strength, range 4. Okay, I think that's slightly less than the bone darts. And then we consume them, devour the scum from under a fingernail to gain insanity. Okay, well, and then we might as well see what this crimson stool does as well. So we got the blood stool, and we had crimson bone saved. That was crimson pearls. That's the wrong button. On arrival, gain 3 bleeding tokens. Your fist and tooth attacks gain +1 strength for each of your bleeding tokens. Okay. So we could do this 2 ways, right? I think what the play is, we put these on Gregor. Oh, I forgot. There's all kinds of other stuff I need to do. I got Hunt XP. Well, doesn't matter. Gerald is actually going to learn a philosophy as well, so that's nice. Get to that in a second. So we put it on, let's say, Gerald. If he has 3 or more bleeding tokens, we can't lose the hone. So it's functionally the same as putting it on a Fist and Tooth Survivor. It's actually slightly better because this has reach and a better chance to hit. So yeah, that's a play. Not great as far as affinities are concerned, but we'll cross that bridge later. All right. So let's innovate. Let's innovate because we need to get some survival actions. So we'll do organ, hide, bone. And we still, worst case scenario, we still have a founding stone for that fourth weapon. So we're, unless I use the groomed nails. So what does those make? Do they make anything? Where am I missing something? Crimson bone, hide, pale flesh, organ, crimson fin, hide, pale flesh, organ, pale flesh, bone, vein glass, crimson bone, immortal time, vein glass. Oh, for the blood compass lantern. That's all that's used for. So it's blood compass lantern or a bone blade. I think a bone blade is, might even make a bone axe. We've got organ. That's probably what we're gonna do. But let's do the innovate. Let's do the innovate. We got a bunch of resources. It is worth it. Let's make sure it hasn't changed. Endeavor, bone, organ, hide. Yeah. Got hovel or drums. Oh, drums is probably at the play here. Whoop. Yeah, drums. Absolutely. Doesn't do anything for us now, but it does lead to some useful stuff. All right, what have we got for the consequences? Ah. Nope, 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 nope. Got Forbidden Dance. Song of the Brave is a huge one. Just those two. Okay. Cool. Easy connecting red. Did it? Oh, you're right. All right, so we might put it on a fist. And thank you for pointing that out. Yeah. So it might also. Well, we're probably gonna start working on this soon, so we can get the crimson helm and the crimson dress in there, or even the crimson. Yeah, crimson helm and crimson dress would work. Boo. Yeah, so I might go on a fist and tooth survivor for now. Okay, yeah, let's deal with Gerald leveling up, because I almost forgot about that. Is age even a thing anymore, or is it just, hey, go get yourself a philosophy? Because I think it's just go get yourself a philosophy. Yeah, almost positive that's how that works. We're just going to do it. Gerald, your stats aren't great, but we might have to start bringing you out for stuff. Because didn't go too well for Jewel. So we just shuffle this up. And we draw survivalism again. Okay. That's all. Okay. So he could still do fist pumps and stuff as the scout. We're not going to level up strength training, but we will level up survivalism. Oh, we also got to do the book thingy. Yep. Proceed to rank 1. He gains a Lumi and rolls a d10. That's right, it doesn't automatically start with strength training. With a 4, your heart hardens to your fellow survivors as you imagine numerous scenarios in which you must choose yourself over them. A hard lump forms in your throat. You disgust yourself. You strike the ground harder and harder until the stone cracks beneath your bloodied fist. Gain Desperate Strike. On a perfect hit. Okay. That is now in our knowledge deck. And Lumi was here. I don't think this did anything notable. Yeah, no brain trauma. -1 speed, but +1 strength. It's probably worth putting him in for combat. I don't have any slow weapons. That would be perfect, but all right. Let's finish off this. Let's just do hide. Let's organize this mess. And then one of the pale fleshes so that we can make headband, pants, and boots. Pretty straightforward. Smooth. So we have a tank set up. Extra gear can go somewhere. Let's put it over here. That's fine. All right, so what have we got left? We got an organ, hide, bone, organ. I mean, we could start on a crimson set for Gregor. We don't have the things he needs to connect, but start on it. So yeah, we said we were going to do bone, flesh, fin, flesh. Okay. So yeah, we're going to do this, and we're going to do this to make a bone axe, just to have another weapon. And yeah, let's go ahead and make a crimson guard. So it's a flesh and an organ. So when you depart, a pale scab hardens on your forearm, gain a bleeding token, and add 1 to the arm's hit location. Interesting. So maybe we don't want to give him the pearls after all. All right, we'll figure that out. We'll figure that out. And then with this last hide, we should probably just make a set of bandages. I think that's the smart play. I don't make bandages nearly as often as I should. Yeah, that was right. I clicked on that. All right, so that's that. We still have 3 endeavors. And the smart thing to spend them on is just going to be augury. Because I would love to trigger intimacy. I don't think anybody else has understanding. Well, there is no anybody else. Well, we might as well use Gerald, because he does have 1 understanding already. So we're gonna spend. He gains a survival. I'm pretty sure he's maxed out. Or no, he can't gain survival, right? Yeah, he has a. Was it? No, he can gain survival. Oh yeah, the intracranial hemorrhage. He can't gain survival. Let's spend another one. Lose a resource. We do have that broken lantern. That's unfortunate. But he does get another understanding. Come on. There we go. And for our 3rd attempt... No, not happening. Oh. Survival of the fittest would feel real nice right now. Okay. So... I think that ends our turn. We got a handful of fresh survivors here that we can bring along. I don't think any of them have anything notable about them. Yeah, they're all just a bunch of fresh faces. So here's where we're at. Normally, this is where I would take a break, set up the next hunt phase. I think we're actually going to end stream here for the night. I got a bit of a late start. So it's already almost 10 p.m. Unfortunately, these fights are taking a little longer than I would like right now, as well as these settlement phases, as I'm still learning the ARC survivors and all that stuff, are taking a bit longer than I would like as well. So I don't think I want to push this until, close to midnight, maybe. So we're going to end here for the night. Next Lantern Year, so next week's stream, we're gonna take another shot at the Smog Singers. I think, maybe. I gotta think on it. I wouldn't mind fighting the Croc again, just to try and get like 1 more piece of armor for Gregor. But at the same time, let's look here. I'm not going to get any more collective cognition. So I wouldn't mind getting the Smog Singers collective cognition. The next threshold is at 5, though, so it's not hugely important right now. So we've got 2 hunts before our Nemesis encounter with the Butcher. So we might do 1 more Croc and then do Smog Singers. So because we do Croc, we might get some more good weapons and start working on an armor set. Whereas with Smog Singers, I know their weapons are not particularly good. Their armor is actually okay, but them being a node 2, getting that armor set together is going to take some time. That's more of a mid game thing. So I think that's our play. We're going to do Croc next year, followed by Smog Singers, and then we're going to have Butcher after that. So I think that's where we're at. Gonna sign off here. Get set up with our new victims to come. Um, but yeah, so thank you everybody so much for tuning in. As always, you can find the VODs over on YouTube. Have those usually up by the end of the weekend. And YouTube folks, once again, if you missed it at the top, please check the description for a link to the Twitch channel where we are live on Fridays. So that's all I've got for y'all tonight. The end of my rambling. Again, a little out of practice. So I got to kind of get back into the swing of things. So hopefully by next week, be a little more on point, be a little more focused. So good night, everybody. Thanks for tuning in.